Welcome to Clockwise Thoughts. Today we have another special guest, 3 weeks running. Today we have a Monk or Monk. He's one of our hosts, family members, and he wanted to jump in and follow along with us today because he's an athlete. He's a high school athlete, and this is important to him. He wanted to give his thoughts, but we're going to kick it to Scout. We're going to let Scout start off today.
All right. Yes, Monk is my youngest. Sophomore in high school. Plays basketball. Goes down there to Riverside. From hearing this and from the clip, I understood why Kenny, he walked off. I was waiting to see, even though they didn't show it in the clip. I know Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, he left. Charles Barkley, they left. And it was just Ernie sitting there. And then all of a sudden, Ernie left. But going back to what Shaq said and Charles Barkley, what is the next step? For me, canceling these games, boycotting them, is that really going to touch that person's soul? And I look at it just like how I said a few weeks back. My son's sitting right there. He's not stepping into school right now. His stuff will be just like on this platform. But on the same note, I worry even when he goes to my brother's house, it's not even 5 minutes away, play with his cousins. And it has gotten to a point that it right now it's 2020, and it still feels like we're running from slavery chains or people chasing us. When you are unarmed, and I say this with everything, unarmed, and you get shot 7 times, how many more? How many more? They still have not pressed total charges on the police officers that killed the black paramedic in Kentucky. And she was on a call with them that same night. The Lloyd case, still nothing. Or better yet, it's a case right here at home that came about today. A former Boone County police officer kidnapped, tortured, tried to remove breast implants of his own wife at the time. They dropped the case and said where he did not transport her. This is what the Supreme Court of West Virginia did. Said where he did not transport her, it was not kidnapping. With the kidnapping charges, it dropped it from him serving a life sentence to he can get paroled in the next 3 to 6 months to a year. But you torture, kidnap, burnt your own spouse. Injustices are being done. Injustices are being done across this country. I'm just fed up because the fact of the matter is, right now, us as minorities, you gotta wonder when them blue and red lights click on. And I really don't blame the NBA for doing what they did. I'm not blaming some of the rest of the sports, baseball. I don't blame them. But this got to stop. And I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to switch it over to black. I'm going to say this. When our president, normally I don't talk about politics. I leave that to black. I also leave that to read. But when your president gonna give a bloody nickel about this man, I'm sorry. I don't support that. I don't support that. And for the same man to say that the sports factions that's doing the Black Lives Matter or doing some kneeling or wanted to play the Black National Anthem during their sports thing, but you don't care nothing about that. To me, right there, you should never became president in the first place. Because if you can't care about the people and what's going on here at home, why are you in that seat for? So I agree with Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. We do have the power. Question is, and I pose this question to everybody on the panel, and I'll even say it out to all our followers and neighbors. What you gonna do? Are you gonna get up off your behind and change the narrative? Or are you gonna sit at home and steadily gripe and don't do nothing about it? Choice is yours.
And agreeing,
Like it's all
Phil.
you.
Living you learn. Wow, that's tough to follow. Where do I begin? Boycott. I agree with the Milwaukee Bucks saying, you know what, this game ain't really worth it. Mind you, they're ahead in the series, so they can actually afford the penalty of forfeiting the game and the $5 million fine, I believe, that comes with it. So I'm not necessarily sure if if that happens, if the series, if the wins and losses are reversed, but that we'll never know. But as far as it, I looked at the Milwaukee Bucks boycotting as taking a knee, basically. And when you drop the one knee, and then somebody comes up beside you, they put their hand on your shoulder and they drop to that knee, and somebody beside you on the other side drops to the knee, and it just starts to chain, just starts a ripple effect. And I believe that's pretty much what happened when everybody was like, okay, we're just not playing right now. With that being said, I do also agree that because this wasn't a collectively discussed idea, this was really just one team was like, you know what, it's not worth it tonight. I believe a lot of people made emotional decisions to not play without having a realistic idea of what to do next. Granted that, and with that being said, we have to be honest when I say without, a group of people not knowing what to do next. We're only speaking about the teams within the bubble. We're not even speaking about the entire NBA as a whole. You know what I mean? This is a freak accident in the sense that we're going through with the pandemic. So this isn't indicative of everyone in the league. But at the same time, I do believe that some things are just more important than sports, especially if you're willing to forego your paycheck in a sense. I know NBA salaries are guaranteed, but if you're willing in a sense to forego your paycheck because you have a point to prove, I think that speaks volumes. So, ultimately, the consideration of not playing the rest of the playoffs would have cost billions, I believe. But again, if the owners, the players are okay with that and the networks are okay with it and they're not going to hold it against you, they just want their money, then so be it. As long as everybody's on the same page in the agreement of what you're going to sacrifice, by all means, do what you have to do. That's a unified front, and I'm all for that. There is, however, the other side of the equation where we do have to look at the question of, okay, you're right, sports are not really important based on what's happening. But at the same time, number one, we didn't have all the facts. And number two, to a degree, some people are still contractually obligated to perform, I guess you could say, a service or play a game. So there are those ramifications that we do have to divulge into, which apparently between the NBA and the NBA Players Association, they were able to hammer out some details in order to come to an agreement to resume games this coming Saturday, being tomorrow. just to quickly go over some of those things, key talking points, between the Players Association and the NBA players, they would like to establish a social justice coalition to focus on voting and civic engagement, as well as advocating for more meaningful police and criminal justice reform, which I personally believe we need. What the reform that we've been given is a farce. I'm sorry. A reintegration program is not criminal justice reform. Granted, I understand you can take the stance of we're trying to free people who were unjustly jailed, but at the end of the day, some people, A, deserve to be in there. Let's just be real. And number two, the most important, so in order to qualify for this wonderful gift that the president has given, I have to first go commit a crime, be convicted, hopefully not killed before I get to jail, to be then convicted, to then qualify for this First Step Act. It's ridiculous to me. Sorry to get off track. Number two, again, this is the players and the Players Association. They like the creation of safe in-person voting options for communities that are vulnerable to COVID. And basically, if I'm correct, the president believes mailing in ballots is going to cause an issue, and this sounds like people possibly agree with that. So it's more use financial resources to ensure that voting can be conducted properly, safely based on social distancing and the CDC requirements, which is good. We want as many people as we can get out to vote. We don't want anybody not to be counted due to the pandemic. Yes, it's still scary out there, but we're going to try and make this as safe as possible so everybody's vote can be included. And number three, and like I said, this one's a little tricky, but there's a request of a joint effort from the players and the network partners to create advertising spots during the playoffs, to promote more civic awareness and civic engagement. Now, again, I understand you want to spread the word, get out there and vote. I believe LeBron James is the one vote movement. I hope I'm quoting that correctly. Yeah, it's clear, it's obvious.
Yeah, he has a correlation for the vote now thing.
Okay, so it is obvious. It is obvious. This is the message here is to use resources to spread the word about how important it is for everyone to get out and vote, using prominent figures the country can relate to or can see, especially for the Black community. Again, boycotting, in a sense, is kind of a strong arm tactic to get billionaires to spend their money on what you want to spend it on. I don't necessarily know something had to be done, but there's going to be backlash. There's going to be repercussions, as with everything.
Right.
So that's pretty much that's pretty much where we are. I agree. Something does need to change, and I hope this will lead to change. But I guess you could say it's a start.
Okay. So Monk, what about you? We heard from your dad. We heard from Black. They say it's a start. How do you feel, about the Black Lives Matter movement when it comes to sports? I mean, you're the only athlete we have right now because we're all past our prime. So
what do you mean, man? I got 3 gold medals in slacking off. Okay.
Right, so Monk, go ahead and speak on
it. I feel like for sports, it's important and stuff, but like I understand that for like the movement to be a part of sports, because it wouldn't just be like, it'd be harder to push it for people to care more about it.
Okay. All right. So you think it's good for the movement to be ran with like the NBA and MLB and like the major, like the professional leagues and things like that.
Yeah, because it gets it out there more, because like it's more people watch sports and stuff and all that. So I feel like people will be more aware about it.
Okay, that makes sense. I get you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably the only person that does not like that idea.
And why is that, sir?
I don't I don't like the leagues. Once again, I don't like the leagues being involved with it. I don't feel like the leagues themselves, NBA, MLB, NHL, whatever it may be, I don't think they have. What am I trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say. They don't have our best interest
They
at
may have the responsibility, but not the job to do that.
no, they don't have the responsibility because they don't care. So it's not their responsibility. Now the players, definitely, it is the players' responsibilities because they have the platform. Um, I was watching I was watching First Take earlier this week, and Stephen A. Smith said something remarkable. I normally don't agree with anything Stephen A. Smith says, but sometimes he makes a point. He said that the players are the ones who sit at the tables with the people making decisions. Yeah, they can't always make decisions, but they themselves can influence the decision makers. So for the leagues themselves, hands off for the leagues. I get it, I understand it. But as players, if you are a pro athlete and this is something that you want to do, then speak out about it. Then you start to make changes. Like, and I commend Kyrie and all the players that opted out of going to the bubble. And of the MLB stars, it's like, nope, not going to play baseball. COVID's a thing, and there are still injustices in the world. Because they said that this is going to take away from what's going on. And it did. It with sports starting back up, it shifted everything away from the issues, from what people wanted to talk about, from what people said needed to change. And if I'm correct, Dr. King said it himself. Rioting is what happens when the voices of the voiceless go unheard. And that's what we're seeing now. So once again, I understand why they want to do it. So for my professional leagues, nope, have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. With the NFL wanting to use the Black National Anthem for the first week of the season, bet you guys didn't know we had a Black National Anthem, did you?
Yes, I did.
I heard.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
watched Bingo All Stars with Billy D. Williams, and then yes, I know about that.
Okay. Bingo All Stars. Didn't know about that. But I feel like with the leagues themselves getting involved in this crisis, I think they're placating us. They're just doing this to get us to forget about it because it's not going to stand. Like Chuck said, what do you want to happen next? What's the next step to go forward? Because as of right now, you're just protest, protest, protest. Cool. What do you want to see change?
Well,
And
that's why I mean I don't believe anybody realistically had when when the Milwaukee Bucks decided not to come out of the locker room. I don't necessarily think they had a realistic understanding of, okay, we want this and this to change, or we ain't coming out the locker room. It was just more like overall, globally, they just want,
I'm not even talking about
a change in culture.
right. I'm not talking about the Bucks right now. I'm talking about athletes and everybody in general. If you want to see something change, what do you want to see change? Scout said it. He's concerned when Monk goes down the street to play with his cousins. Not even 5 minutes away. Change needs to happen.
Well, but
But
like I said, we need legitimate police reform.
yeah, but that's
Basically, what Rhea's saying, yeah, it falls upon the players because they're human. The organizations, it don't fall upon them. Change happens with people, not organizations, with people.
But let me
bottom up.
but let me ask a question. Let me ask you a question with that being considered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The players have the platform, right?
Correct.
I ask you the question, what exactly is the platform?
Their platform is I understand it's their leagues. I get it. They made it to that point. But with their platform, the overall umbrella, the league, and I'm going to do it like SpongeBob, the league doesn't have to
Lord have
really
mercy.
do anything. They don't. The league shouldn't. They should really be hands off. It's a touchy situation because if they go too far to the left or too far to the right, they're burning themselves. They're gonna have people stop watching.
Mhm.
So as the
So you're saying
players,
there's putting a price on what's right and what's not.
yeah, as the players, this is what they want to see change. Then with your platform, and I understand, hey, I'll give it to you. NBA, more power to you by letting the players put signs and names and words on the back of their jerseys. Whoop-de-doo. We've been doing that with
Mhm.
airbrush T-shirts that say people names for the last 1900 years. So what's the difference? Remember Breonna Taylor? Yeah, we know who she is. We're gonna remember. But what do you want us? How do you want us to remember her? How?
But do you not? But do you not see that even in? But do you not see even in the media, whether you were dealing with the left or the right, that that's the underlying question that no one ever seems to want to actually answer?
I understand that.
I'd like as sick as this is going to sound, and I know I'm going to touch some people the wrong way with this, but I genuinely conspiracy theory. Hold on, everybody, conspiracy theory.
Monk Scout, y'all can jump into this. This doesn't have to be a two-person.
No. What I was gonna say is this: to answer Black's statement, and also to answer the rest. What happened today? What's the day? 57 years, right? 57 years. Dr. Martin Luther King went to D.C., gave one of the most remarkable speeches ever, paid for it with his life. With his life.
Yeah.
Same thing would happen to that man that gave that remarkable speech. It's still happening today. 57 years later. They held a rally, had Trayvon Martin's mom, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor's people, everything else. What it boils down to is you can talk about it all you want. Change does not happen through talk. It happens through actions.
Correct.
That's why Chuck and Shaq said, we've been had the power to change this stuff. Instead of us sitting here griping and complaining, go register to vote. Change. That's step one. Register to vote. Get out there and vote. Change it. Step two, this right here at the end of the day, this right here, I'll say it again, at the end of the day, I learned this way before I went to the military because it's always been through my family. At the end of the day, we all bleed the same color. But for people to keep looking at this right here and saying that I'm better than you, it's always been wrong and unjust. It's time for a change. But us as Black people need to understand this. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave it alone. This has not been the first time. This has not been the first time. We went through slavery. But even before that, look at it. It's already been written through time. The Jewish people went through this. Who's going to be that person that's going to stand up to say them words, to let people be accountable, not aware, accountable for their actions? Because this right here, this great nation of ours, they say is all so extra great, and it's the land of the free, the home of the brave. But everything free that's been here has been off of somebody else's back, blood, sweat, and tears. I want everybody to let that set in.
Yeah.
Because none of this is free, and it always have been fought for. So if you won't change, I'm not saying go out there and fight, because there's different ways how to fight for it. Go out there and vote to change it. But it's going to tap on something else, so we'll be going to talk about in a different show. Start with that home training. People forgot about that. That's all I have to say.
Monk,
At HT, you can always bring it back there.
Monk, go ahead and close it out. So, what do you think? Give us your final thoughts.
I feel like y'all have made some great points, and that's all true. But I really haven't seen nobody during this protest to really stand out and to say anything about changing anything. Everybody's been marching and all that, but hasn't said anything that has really did anything to help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a point with all the marching and rioting that has been going on. Nobody has
Conspiracy
said,
theory, they're playing us.
dude, they're placating us. They are, because
You know what's
nobody has
sad?
the answer of what's next.
But what's sad? It's a giving shame. That's coming from pretty much getting ready to be a 16-year-old kid
Mm-hmm.
who's sitting here saying all the marching and everything else you're doing. What you doing to change it? You can talk all day. That's sad that a kid in 2020 gotta sit there and say that.
Hey man, but you got to remember, kids don't lie. They don't know how to lie. If you ask them a straight question, you're gonna get a straight answer. It's not the answer that anybody wants, but it's the answer that everybody needs to hear. Because nobody knows what's next. Marching it with crowd beating politicians is all cool. It's cool. It's hot. It's nice to be on the front page of the newspaper. Get your name in big bold letters for a day, month, week, whatever it may be. But
Mm-hmm.
when the lights turn off and you by yourself, what are you gonna do? Nobody wants to see behind the curtain. I do. I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's going on. We need to know
Not
what's
missing
going on
nothing.
behind the curtains. I'll say it. We need to know. We need to figure it out. We need to have something change. And I normally I don't say go out and vote, but if that's the thing, if because we ain't have 8,100 people in Florida who didn't vote, 94,100 people in West Virginia who didn't vote, and how many other people
Mm,
who didn't vote,
mm,
then go ahead and do
yeah,
it. Do it. Actually research it. Don't just go out there and punch numbers in
Yeah,
there.
I was about to say, actually know what you voting for. Know the text and the subtext of what you voting for.
Yeah, because I know that's another topic and conversation altogether. So
but
on that note, because it's
Mr. Reed, do you mind?
a bit of an issue.
Do you mind?
Go ahead.
On that note, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us, Clockwise Thoughts. Hopefully, this show has pulled at your heartstrings just a little bit. See you again next week.
Laters.